Here is the uncomfortable truth. A lot of RAG systems do not fail because of the model. They fail because the chunks are wrong.
Exactly. Chunking sounds boring, but it decides what can even be found. If the right idea never makes it into a retrievable unit, your retriever loses before generation starts.
So when people argue about embeddings, re-rankers, prompts, all of that, you are saying the first battle is earlier.
Much earlier. Chunking is how you package meaning for search. Too small, and you break context apart. Too large, and you bury the answer inside noise.
That sounds neat in theory. What does that actually change for a programmer building a real RAG system?
It changes recall, precision, latency pressure, and trust. Good chunking gives retrieval units that are both findable and useful once found.
Give me a concrete case.
Imagine product docs. A user asks, "How do I rotate API keys without downtime?" If you chunk by tiny paragraphs, one chunk says rotate keys, another says keep both keys active during transition. Retrieval might return only one. The answer becomes incomplete and risky.
So the model sounds confident, but it missed the safety condition because the safety condition was sliced away.
Right. And now flip it. If one chunk contains the entire authentication page, rotation, scopes, audit logs, service accounts, everything, retrieval may find it, but the signal is diluted. The relevant sentence is trapped in a blob.
So too small means fragmented meaning. Too large means hidden meaning.
That is the core trade-off. A good chunk is usually one coherent unit of thought, with enough surrounding context to stand on its own.
Usually is doing a lot of work there. What makes a chunk obviously too small?
If a chunk depends on neighboring text to answer basic questions, it is too small. Pronouns with no referent, steps missing prerequisites, conclusions separated from caveats, code comments detached from what they describe. Those are danger signs.
And too large?
If one chunk contains multiple intents, multiple topics, or multiple answerable questions, it is too large. The retriever gets a muddy vector, and the generator gets distracting baggage.
Let us make that real again.
Think of an incident runbook. One section explains how to identify a database failover. Another explains how to notify customers. Another explains rollback criteria. Put those together, and a query about rollback can rank the chunk because of failover terms. But the actual rollback rule is one sentence in the middle. That hurts both retrieval quality and downstream answer quality.
So winners are the teams whose chunks line up with the questions users actually ask.
Yes, and that leads to evaluation. The mistake is treating chunking like a formatting choice instead of a measurable retrieval decision.
Good. How do you evaluate it without disappearing into implementation trivia?
Start with a set of real questions and known good source passages. Then compare chunking strategies by asking a simple question. Does retrieval bring back the passage that truly supports the answer? High enough and often enough?
So, not just, did something vaguely related show up?
Exactly. You want support, not coincidence. Check whether the retrieved chunk contains the decisive fact, not just shared keywords.
What signals do you look for besides raw hit rate?
3 big ones. First, answer completeness. Does one retrieved chunk provide enough context to answer cleanly? Second, answer contamination. How often does the chunk pull in irrelevant facts that steer the model off course? Third, ranking stability. Do good chunks stay near the top across paraphrased versions of the same question?
Paraphrases matter because users do not ask like your benchmark asks.
Right. If chunking only works when the query wording mirrors the document wording, it is brittle. Strong chunking survives wording changes because the semantic unit is intact.
Give me one common mistake you see all the time.
Optimizing chunk size by character count alone. That is the classic trap. Characters are easy to measure, but users search for meaning, not for 800-character windows.
So the lazy move is saying we picked a number, shipped it, and called chunking solved.
And the cost is hidden. You think retrieval is mediocre, so you buy a bigger model or add more prompting, when the real issue is that your evidence units are malformed.
That is the power shift, right? Teams that evaluate chunking seriously get more out of the same model stack, and teams that ignore it keep paying for answers their system could never retrieve.
Exactly. Chunking is not document splitting. It is decision design for retrieval. Get that right, and your RAG system stops guessing and starts finding.